Tell me the sound's working. Sound. Tell me the sound's working. All right, how now? Oh, now, brown cow? Is the sound working? Yep, it's working. I see it. Ay, ay, ay. Wow. Let's see, where the heck is everything else? Oh, there you are. All right, we're finally working. Everything's working. Good evening, people, and welcome. Welcome to the Stormwalker Show. Yeah, I know, ain't it? I haven't quite decided what to name this, but I know it's we call it a live every night. But truthfully, is it really a live or is it a show? Because a live would just be like something I just stop in every now and then and hey, how you doing, and so on. But this isn't me stopping in every now and then saying hi. This is me being here every night saying hi, how you doing. It's something to think about. Something to really think about, actually. And so that's where I'm kind of like, well, maybe I am kind of moving here with intention. No? I mean, I had a great day there. I saw my first completely 100% branded server. You see, most people move every day, but few move with intention. See, all right, I'll give an idea. All right. Some time ago, I actually had a guy working for me. This is years ago. He's been tired. And so it was one of those things where he really wasn't into the job. He'd show up for work and he was just there to collect a paycheck. I mean, I hate saying that I ended up firing him. I mean, he didn't even last really more than 2 weeks. But he came there and I had him moving. I was an eBay power seller at that time. And we were selling boxes of chips on eBay. We're talking thousands of dollars a week in chips being shipped out on eBay. And it was a really good time. I mean, really lucrative. Where else would you think of a computer store selling chips on eBay? Something really bizarre was I remember that time period. We sold a lot of sunflower seeds to Canada. That was one of our biggest things we sold to Canada. I mean, out of probably an average of about 300 cases or boxes of sunflower seeds that we'd sell a month, out of those 300 or so, probably about 200, maybe 250 of them went to Canada per month. And we kept track of this stuff because it was just, I love details like that. I mean, I love really details. And it's like, if anybody ever actually sees my office or stuff like this, you can actually try and see, I've set my AIs up to try and work really well to show off some really cool stuff. And well, you know what? I'll just show you because this is actually pretty neat. All right, let's see here. Come on, let me move some things here because, well, we don't want to. All right, here we go. Here, I'm just going to grab the camera. Whee! And check this out. I mean, I love the details. Where we got our primary server and it tells me all the details about it's only using 14% power to how much RAM it's using, how much disk space, everything like this, how many cores it's using, to whatever one of my little backup servers I've got going on where it's got 100% processing power right now because it's doing a backup, to another server I'm putting out in a field that I'm going to use as a remote server, remote offsite server, to our in-house backup server that's in power down. That's in like a sleep mode right now, and it's just a total backup server. long story short, I mean, that's our thing. And it's got little tickers that let me know what's going on. I mean, Rivendell's doing a backup. We got all this other stuff here going around doing stuff, and I love this. I love the details oriented on this one. So yeah, so I kept track of all this stuff. All right. Now the really cool thing is this guy here that I had hired. Let me pull up Instagram again so I can make sure the camera's still working. So the really cool thing is this guy that I had hired, he was one day stacking boxes. All right. He was unloading the truck and he was just taking boxes and just throwing them any old haphazard way. They weren't stacked neatly. They could have just fallen over and gotten crunched up, and all the chips would have broken inside there, and clients would have called us after they'd shipped them and complained about it. I mean, yeah, okay, so we ship them out, and UPS is in charge of whether they're crunched or not, and so on. But you know what? That limits the ability of them being crunched. And so if UPS or FedEx or USPS gets the boxes before we give it to them and they're already damaged, that's not a good thing. So he's just throwing boxes left and right of these brand new boxes of chips, just throwing them. They're like ready to fall over, and all this other stuff like this. I'm like, really? You're just doing it in a real crappy way, man. I mean, come on. And sorry, I'm trying to fix my camera. That's what I get for moving it, right? And finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I'm like, dude, stack the boxes nice, man. At least keep them neat and orderly. What? They're just boxes. Yeah, they're boxes of chips that we're going to send out to somebody. They got to show up in a nice, neat, orderly. Like once they hit FedEx, they're going to get destroyed. I'm like, you know what? But once they get to FedEx, until they get to FedEx, I want to make sure that they look good. But it doesn't matter. They're just boxes. Have you seen the No, I haven't, babe. And it was like, they're just boxes. They don't have to be stacked neatly or anything. I'm like, dude, just do it. I pay you to try and do a job right. Just do the job how I want you to do it. It's like, I'm like, this is it. I mean, but I'm not like you. Like, well, change. Change. You got 5 seconds. He's like, what? Like, it's just a decision to make a change in your life to stack boxes neatly. And he's like, but I'm not like you. I can't make a decision like that. What do you mean you can't make a decision like that? You can't make a decision to just stack boxes neatly? So what, you made a decision just to stack boxes crappily? I'm like, it's a decision to make it. It's a decision to focus on a defining direction. If you're going to do a job, do it good. Don't do it half-assed. And he was like, I'm not like you. That's the problem we have. All right, no problem. And so I let him continue doing that. And then by the end of the week, I kind of just said, you know what? I don't think you're going to fit here very well. And I told him, don't come back anymore. And I got yelled at for firing the work impaired. I mean, the guy couldn't work properly. So, I mean, I got yelled at for it. I'm the evil capitalist, firing the work impaired. Can't do a job right, so I fired him, right? That's how it works, right? I mean, it's influence isn't built by motion, it's built by meaning. If you're going to do a job right, do it right. If somebody's paying you to do a job, to do it the way they want it done. It's called intentional movement. And that creates clarity. Because see, every step should be answering, why am I doing this? Everything you do in life should have a why. Why am I getting up in the morning? Why am I going to bed at night? Why am I going to work? Why am I going to school? We started asking why when we were little kids. And when we were little kids, our parents got mad at us because we asked too many whys. Why is the sky blue? I remember that. Oh man, I remember that. Sky's blue because of the fact the water's blue. And if you don't shut up about it, I'm going to drown you. Oh, okay. That stopped me asking why quickly. But we stopped asking why at a young age. We stopped being curious. And so we just do things because it's natural. There's a study out there where they actually showed, it was a social study, where they hired somebody to sit in an office environment and they watched him. And every time a clicker clicked, he would stand up. He knew what was going on. And then every time it clicked twice, he would sit back down. And this was a normal doctor's office. And so every time the clicker clicked, he'd stand up. And when it clicked twice, he'd sit back down. So when a real person came in there that didn't know what was going on, came in there, and they sat there in the office, and they heard the click, and they saw the guy stand up, and they heard the click again, and he sat back down. They were like, what? And so a few minutes went by, and they heard a click again, and he stood up and waited for the second click, and he sat back down. Well, that person was like, maybe I should be doing something. And so the finally third time that they heard the click, that person stood up, not knowing why they had to stand up. They just stood up. And another person came in and sat in there and noticed that when the click happened, both those people stood up and instantly stood up with them. And when it clicked twice, they both sat down and they sat down. So now they got a room of 3-4 people standing up every time the click happened and sitting back down every time the clicker happened twice. So the guy that was in on it, he left the room. The guy that knew exactly why he was there, he left the room, leaving only the people that actually came into the room not knowing what the clicker meant. And so every time after he left, after the click happened, guess what happened? Everybody stood up. And when it clicked again a second time, everybody sat down. And this happened on and on for a little bit while longer. And so eventually more people came in. And the first 1 or 2 people left out. And you know what happened? Everybody that came in that room started standing up when they heard the click because they saw everybody else standing up. And nobody knew why they were standing up when the clicker clicked. And nobody knew why they were sitting down when the clicker clicked twice. See, a lot of people live their life doing things just because other people do it, not realizing why. Because they followed somebody else's influence. Social media is filled with influencers. Hi. Hi, Beth. The social media people are out there influencing you. Buy this, buy that, do this, buy this, buy that. Showing you how cool it is to have this, showing you how cool it is to have that. And they make people feel guilty about their lives. But they don't have a house in the woods, or they don't have a house on a 20-bedroom house mansion, or they don't have a BMW, or they don't have this. And so what happens is people forget why they're living their life, and they just see all this stuff that influencers are doing, that are just basically influencing and pushing the consume ideology and not focusing on building their life. So, yes, every step that you do should answer, why am I doing this? You know, and I think back to that guy that was moving those boxes. And I tried explaining to him why. I tried. I really did. It was one of those things where I'm like, dude, I my idea is I want things done my way because I'm paying you to do things my way. Because when you do things my way, you're doing things using my brand, my ideas. People are paying me for my services because of the way I do things. Now, if you're going to do something your way, but they're paying me for you to do something your way, you're no longer doing it my way, and you're not going to do it according to how they're paying me, and they're not going to want to pay me. Because if you're doing it half-assed, nilly-willy, just throwing boxes in a corner that could fall down and break, then it's going to look bad on me. Good night, Beth. And so therefore, if I have to question, if you're not going to try and stack boxes in my office in a good professional way, how are you going to answer phones or fix computers or do anything else for me in a good professional way? And I don't think he got that. That's why I ended up firing the work impaired. See, that random hustle has to be strategic. If you're going to do something, do it right. And if you don't know how to do it, then learn. Ask for somebody to help and actually try. Because you know what? Are you moving or are you just are you advancing? I mean, are you just moving and doing standing up because every time life clicks and sitting back down because every time life clicks again? Or are you actually advancing knowing why you're standing up for whatever it is you're standing up for? Or sitting down for whatever it is that you're sitting down for? Because see, influence is energy. It transfers through conviction. Those people standing up in that exercise, they didn't know why. They were just doing it because they felt it was necessary. They felt it was necessary because of the one guy that led them on. That one guy that did it with conviction. That one guy that led with confidence. That one guy that moved with certainty. That one guy that was just the right influence that influenced every single person that came in that room after him, even after he left. Because, see, what happened is he was the leader. He knew what he was doing, he knew why he was standing. He stood every time there was a click to prove a point. And he sat down every time he heard that click again. And the people that followed him, they saw how convicted he was to it. They saw how committed he was to listening to that click and standing. They saw how committed and how reactive he was towards it, and felt that, you know what, he's doing it for a purpose, and that there's a real reason why he's doing it. Because somebody who's going to do it on purpose like that isn't going to do it out of just pure fun. They're going to do it on purpose. They're going to do it because there's a real reason why. And well, you know what, I might get left out. And so that next person followed him in. That next person stood up when they clicked. That next person sat down when it clicked. And that next person kept doing it, even after he left the room, not even knowing why. Why? Because they figured that, you know what? There was a reason why he was doing it, and he knew exactly why. And so, therefore, there must be a real purpose. There must be a real conviction to why he was doing it. And so, therefore, they're going to continue doing it, and they'll find out once they get to see the doctor. And the next people that came in there after did it as well. And they didn't want to feel left out because they saw the next person standing. And nobody asked anybody anything about it. They didn't talk to each other. God forbid they talk. I mean, this is a society where we sit and play on our cell phones and we don't social interact. We social interact on Facebook and TikTok and all the other things like that. We don't talk to each other in the room. God, no. Why would we do that? You know? No, we just see everybody else standing up when we hear a click, so we're going to stand up when we hear a click. We're not going to ask why. We're just going to do it because they're doing it. Because they must know what's going on. And so if they know what's going on, I'm not going to be left out. I'm just going to join the party. And you know what? Like a herd of lemmings falling over a cliff. Ha! You guys have a good trip? Oh, man. Oh, man, that was good. How you guys doing, huh? You guys have a good trip back there? Wow, huh? That's what I get for moving my camera, eh? All right, let's try this again. So how does it feel to be a lemming? There you go. Let's go, boys! Yeah, ancient game, Lemmings, the Amiga world. Good game. It was one of my favorites. So you have to ask yourself, are you moving or are you advancing? Are you following people who move with certainty? Because you know what? I know from experience, a lot of people follow me. Family, teens, heck, even my own audience. Why? Because I have a dream and I'm not lazy. There are people out there that actually try, people, close family, friends, and relatives that even recently, my best friend told me over the weekend while we were camping that, dude, I'm with you for the long haul. I know that you got some wild harebrained ideas, but you know what? I've always known that whatever you put your mind to, you're always going to get. And if you don't get the full 100% Monty, I know you're going to get almost everything that you put your mind to. It's like, I'm with you. I'm there for you. And I'm here with you till the end. And that was moving to me. That meant a lot to me. Because see, people follow those who move with certainty. People that in that doctor's office, they were following the guy that was standing up with pure certainty that he knew why he was standing up. He was there for the test. He was waiting to see how many people he could get to stand up every time it clicked. That's all. And then he went in the back room and he sat there watching the camera as the people stood up and he laughed hysterical at them. Because he was intentional. But the thing is, people followed him because he moved with certainty. He moved with confidence. Because when your steps have a purpose, your presence has power. Oh, God, I've got gas today. It's like I'm going to have an alien chest burster come out of my chest. Ah. Hear me, Ripley? But you know what? I can't stress it. When your steps have purpose, your presence has power. Because intentional discipline separates leaders from wanderers. And that's why it's so important that you focus on your daily habits. Your daily habits align with your mission. Your daily habits focus on your future. Your daily habits are what are going to bring your desires and your dreams to reality. So you have to ask, how consistent are your habits? Hey, Alicia, thank you. How consistency amplifies your influence? Because see, every small deliberate action compounds your future. Everything you do is either building your future or burying it. And that intentional discipline separates the leaders from the wanderers. That intentional discipline separates whether you're going to stand up following somebody else or whether you're going to stand up to see if other people follow you. Because you know what's going to happen is those people in that room had a choice. After that first guy left out, they had a choice. When they heard that click, they could have stood up or they could have remained seated. They chose to stand up. They didn't know why they chose to stand up, but they chose that whatever it was that was needed to stand up for, they needed to stand up for it because it was needed. And at that moment, that's when that person there no longer became a follower.
Daddy, have you seen something pink and furry? It's a squishy ball.
I have not, babe.
Huh.
I'm sorry. That is when that person no longer became a follower, following the other guy that was in the room, and they became the leader. Because once that person left, they could have decided to sit there when they heard the click. Instead, they stood. And when they stood, everybody else in that room looked at them. And then they stood. That person became a leader, moving up from a follower. So you can see how you can easily become better than what you already are. Because that influence grows inside you when you move with intention. If you follow some of the great speakers that are out there, if you follow the books and the guidings of people that have gone before you, who's lost weight, who started businesses, who's gone to school to try to be a doctor or a nurse or whatever like this. I mean, don't take this the wrong way, but people go to school to learn. All right? Now, here's the real truth on that one. People who go to school to learn are following other people who led the way. And when you learn, you lead the way. Because when you go graduate school, you're going to go and have your job. And then you're going to end up having to teach somebody below you how to do your job. And if you're a teacher, guess what? Now you're no longer a follower, but you're a leader. See, my best friend, and I hate saying like this, he's actually always been kind of a follower. I love the guy. And he just started a job recently. And in that job, he's been doing phenomenal. I'm really proud of him. I mean, I'm really, really proud of him. And he's doing an excellent job there. And the funny thing is that people that are noticing him, and it's actually really cool to hear him talk because he's actually turning into a leader. So not only is he learning how to stand on his own 2 feet, because he's had some really challenging life challenges in his life. He suffers from serious depression like I do. And and you know, it's awesome to see somebody grow like that. Somebody's life change. And that's why I'm moving into this business to see people change. And to see him change like this is a phenomenal experience for me. To see him move from a follower to a leader, it's unbelievable. And like I said, influence grows when you move with intention. Your purpose turns motion into momentum. So, I want you to take one intentional step today and every day, something that will shift your direction, not just your speed. Because you know what? It's time. It's time to realize that you've withstood more than people know. You've owned more than people have seen. And it's time to win in a way that nobody can ignore. It's time to step up and move with intention. Because regardless of it, your influence is growing. Because I believe in you. You need to start believing in you. Thank you for joining me tonight, and you have an excellent evening. If you need to follow more, hit my bio